Think you know everything from history class? Think again. There are plenty of surprising facts schools never taught you. In this video, we're uncovering the top 10 facts about history that didn't make it into your textbooks. Get ready to learn some eye-opening truths. Before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss fascinating stories that go beyond the classroom. Let's get started. 10. The Library of Alexandria wasn't destroyed in one dramatic event. Forget everything Hollywood taught you about the Library of Alexandria burning down in one catastrophic fire. The truth is far more mundane and depressing. It died a slow death over centuries through neglect, budget cuts, and changing priorities. The library began declining in the 3rd century BC when the Ptolemaic dynasty started having financial problems and reduced funding for scholarly activities. Roman conquest didn't help, as Romans were more interested in military conquest than preserving Greek intellectual achievements. Christian and Islamic rulers continued operating the library, but with different focuses that gradually shifted away from the original mission. By the time Arab forces conquered Alexandria in 641 AD, the library was already a shadow of its former self. The final blow came not from religious zealots burning books, but from earthquakes and economic decline that made maintaining such an institution impossible. The real tragedy isn't that ignorant barbarians destroyed it, but that civilized people simply stopped caring about preserving human knowledge when it became inconvenient or expensive. 9. Vikings were actually more hygienic than medieval Europeans. While medieval Europeans often avoided bathing, Vikings prioritized cleanliness. They bathed weekly, used animal fat soap, and styled their hair and beards with combs made from bone or antler. Some even bleached their beards with lye. Vikings practiced dental care too, decorating their teeth and likely using toothpicks. Their dirty reputation came from biased Christian chroniclers, but in truth, Vikings were among the cleanest people in medieval Europe, helping them succeed as traders and explorers. 8. The Great Wall of China didn't actually keep invaders out. The Great Wall of China failed as a military defense, often breached by invaders. Its real role was economic, controlling trade and immigration. Built mainly during the Ming Dynasty, it symbolized power more than provided real protection. 7. Columbus wasn't trying to prove the Earth was round. People in Columbus's time already knew the Earth was round. This was established over 1,000 years earlier by Greek mathematicians. His real problem was that he underestimated the Earth's size, believing Asia was much closer than it is. Columbus used faulty ancient maps that made the journey seem possible with 15th century ships. Spanish scholars knew he'd run out of supplies before reaching Asia. He only succeeded because he accidentally found the Americas, which he never realized were new continents. The myth that he proved the Earth was round was created later to make him seem more heroic. 6. Medieval people had better teeth than modern people before sugar. Medieval people had surprisingly good teeth compared to today, mainly because their diet lacked refined sugar. Archaeological studies showed tooth decay was rare, and many kept most teeth for life. Their coarse, fibrous diet naturally cleaned teeth and strengthened jaws. They also used early dental care like chewing sticks and herbal rinses. Dental problems mostly came from using teeth as tools, not decay. Tooth decay surged in the 16th century when sugar became common in Europe, showing how modern processed foods worsened dental health. 5. Witches weren't burned during the Salem witch trials. Despite popular belief, no one was burned alive during the Salem witch trials. All 20 victims were hanged, the standard execution method in colonial Massachusetts. Burning witches was mainly a European practice, not common in English colonies. The trials lasted about a year, 1692 to 1693, and were small compared to European hunts. They began when girls claimed possession and accused local women, mostly those who defied social norms. The hysteria ended when accusations reached prominent figures, and the unreliable spectral evidence was rejected. 4. Napoleon wasn't actually short. Napoleon was about 5'7", average or slightly above for his time. The myth that he was short came from confusion between French and English measurements and British propaganda. His nickname, Little Corporal, referred to his military rank, not his height. In reality, Napoleon was average or tall compared to peers, and the idea of him being short is a false image created by enemies in popular culture. 3. The Dark Ages weren't actually dark. The term Dark Ages is a historical myth created by Renaissance scholars who wanted to make their own era seem more enlightened by contrast. The medieval period from roughly 500–1008 saw significant technological, agricultural, and intellectual advances that laid the foundation for later European development. During this supposedly dark period, Europeans developed heavy plows that could work clay soil, invented windmills and watermills for power, created the three-field system that increased agricultural productivity, and established universities that preserved classical knowledge. Islamic scholars in Spain, the Byzantine Empire in the East, and Carolingian scholars in France all maintained libraries, conducted scientific research, and made significant intellectual contributions. The medieval period saw the development of Gothic architecture, advances in metallurgy and engineering, and the preservation of classical texts that might otherwise have been lost. 2. Ancient Romans had fast food restaurants and concrete better than ours. Ancient Rome had a thriving fast food industry with over 150 thermopolia. Ancient fast food joints in Pompeii alone, serving hot meals to busy urban workers who lived in apartments without kitchens. These establishments had marble counters with holes for food containers, elaborate frescoes advertising their offerings, and even ancient versions of to-go containers. Romans were the first civilization to develop concrete that could set underwater and actually became stronger over time, using volcanic ash that created a chemical reaction, making their structures incredibly durable. Modern concrete degrades within decades, while Roman concrete structures like the Pantheon and Colosseum have lasted over 2,000 years and are still structurally sound. 1. World War II didn't end racism in America. While schools teach that World War II was a fight against fascism and racism, they conveniently ignore that the American military remained completely segregated throughout the war and that racist violence actually increased on the home front. Black soldiers who fought bravely overseas returned to find they still couldn't vote, eat in white restaurants, or live in white neighborhoods. The irony of fighting against Nazi racial ideology while maintaining Jim Crow laws at home was not lost on civil rights activists, but wasn't resolved by the war itself. Race riots occurred in major American cities during the war, including Detroit in 1943, where 34 people died in racial violence. Japanese Americans were imprisoned in concentration camps, while German and Italian Americans faced no such treatment, revealing the racial motivations behind wartime policies. And that's a wrap on the top 10 facts schools never taught you about history. Proof that there's always more to discover beyond the textbooks. Which fact surprised you the most? Share it in the comments. We love hearing your thoughts. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more amazing history facts and stories. Catch you in the next one.